Hello and welcome to episode 8 of Blooming in Pregnancy. I'm Andrea, this is my daughter Maddie.
Hi guys.
This episode we will be talking about the first trimester.
Yes, we will.
The first trimester is a strange season, wouldn't you say?
It's an intense season.
It's an intense season. Why would you say that?
It's probably, for me at least, the most intense trimester out of all of them.
Really?
Yeah.
What makes it so?
Well, just so much is changing with your body. You're having so many new aches and pains. Morning sickness is very common. And it's just an emotional new time that you're trying to wrap your head around the fact that you're pregnant and still continue life as is.
So much is happening on so many different levels, and yet nothing's visible.
Yeah.
But so much is going on emotionally, physically. You're starting to feel a little bit, but you can't see anything right now.
No.
And you might feel excited, you might feel confused, overwhelmed, and it's kind of anticlimactic in a way, until you start feeling nauseous, and then there's a little bit of
Oh, crap.
I'm curious, Maddie, when you think back to your first trimester, what stands out the most for you in your first pregnancy and in this one now that you're barely into the second trimester?
When I think about my first pregnancy with my first trimester, all I can think about is the final 2 weeks of my first trimester where I was sick every day and I was vomiting every day. And I don't like thinking about my first trimester for my first pregnancy. And then this pregnancy, right now, what I mostly have been thinking is just how am I going to, it's more of an emotional thing of how could I possibly just split my love between two children now? It's going to be interesting, but, and also just imagining what life will be like with 2 versus 1, and the physical part of it, because I've been through it before, isn't as, it's intense as far as the vomiting and everything, but it's like I've been through it, so it's not as crazy to be like, oh my gosh.
You understood it a little bit better,
yeah,
knowing what's happening. So when you were doing some research trying to understand why it is that morning sickness hit you so bad in those last 2 weeks, what was going on in your body, what's happening in the last 2 weeks of the first trimester?
Well, your hormones are peaking at that point. I think it's the HCG levels, if I remember correctly. Those are peaking, and so that for a lot of women can feel very intense, but then once you go into your second trimester, you really start to level out, and that's why you start to glow and feel really good in your second trimester sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. I've heard women who end up just being sick the whole way through and don't ever find some way to alleviate that. I'm curious though, because in this pregnancy, even though you had the same sort of symptoms going on, that same morning sickness, I feel like the severity was a little bit more on this one.
Yeah, it's a little weird because with the first one I was vomiting every single day, and then with this pregnancy I didn't really vomit that much, maybe once or twice, and then I had one full day just last week where I was doing it after eating, after drinking, after trying to fix my vomiting problem, and then I had to go to the hospital. But I felt really good after I got some IV fluids and stuff. But
let's talk about that for a minute, because especially women who are trying to do it all natural, do the home birth, have a midwife, and I know you're in that mindset, but yet what made you feel like I better get myself some help?
Just the fact that I was severely dehydrated. I could feel it.
You could?
I could feel how weak, and my lips were getting crusty. I couldn't swallow. I didn't have any liquid in my body. So I was like, as much as I want to be as natural as possible, it's probably best I go get some fluids in a way that I'm not going to vomit, because I couldn't keep anything down. So sometimes that's why modern medicine is sometimes helpful in certain situations, when, especially if you can't keep something down, or if you've tried ginger beer, which I did try, but I
that back up.
So sometimes you just can't help it.
Yeah, and didn't you say too that you were feeling like your back was hurting, like maybe your kidneys were being affected and you had a massive headache? And
my head, my back was really hurting, but after they ran tests at the hospital, my kidneys were fine. It was just probably more from the strain from constant vomiting.
Vomiting all day long. Yeah. That's kind of reassuring too, because you did want to go in and make sure everything was fine with the baby, make sure everything was okay with you, nothing was wrong.
Yeah.
And then they hooked you up to some IV fluid, and then you felt a lot better coming home.
Yep. They gave me some Zofran.
And Zofran is what?
Anti-nausea.
Anti-nausea.
Yeah, I didn't vomit the rest of the day.
Oh, that's good.
And I stopped. I don't think I vomited again, actually. I've been feeling quite good since.
And you've passed that 2-week window, right? You are now in the second trimester, so hopefully...
Yep, officially a couple days ago.
That's good. And I'm glad we're talking about this too, because you listen to your body. We've been talking over the last 7 episodes about building trust and building that intuition and the confidence that you can have in yourself to know what to do. You just knew, I got to get some help, and you went and got it.
I did call the midwife, but they...
Well, that's good.
Yeah, but they were like, oh, well... We'll get a message to the midwife and they might respond today, but it might be tomorrow. I'm like, I don't know if I should wait that long because I'm feeling really sick.
You attempted to get a hold of your midwife.
Yeah, tempted.
Because you're doing a different midwife this time that's associated with the hospital, because you've decided that you want to go to the hospital for finance reasons and other reasons that feels better aligned with you this time.
Yeah.
Was it easier to get a hold of your midwife?
No.
It's about the same.
It's way easier to get a midwife and talk to a midwife that's working out of her own home or her own office compared to a midwife in the hospital, because with my first pregnancy and my first midwife, they had a personal phone number, so if you did have an emergency like that, you would get them immediately. You would talk to them. You could text them, call them, but with this midwife, you have to call the hospital, and then the front desk will leave a note to the hospital, like to the midwife crew, and then they can respond in the phone or through the messaging system on the app, which can take hours.
So even after going in, did you hear anything back from them?
I did hear from them, and they said to go in.
Oh, okay. So
after, I think it was like 5 hours after I contacted them, they contacted me and said you should go in.
But you had already gone in, right?
Yeah, I was on the way there as they were calling me. I'm like, all right, well, I'm already going, so good thing you're calling me now, but I'm just going to listen to my body and just go.
Yeah, just go. You know what you need. And there are other places out there that will do IV, but your intentions were a little bit more than that. You wanted to make sure everything was fine and have labs run, and it worked better for you that way.
Yeah, those places cost money and they don't get covered with insurance, but it's a good thing too, because I was so dehydrated they couldn't find a vein. They poked me, they tried and poked me maybe like 5 times in both arms.
Oh, wow. Oh, gosh.
I can still see it if my arm is bruised.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better and over that hump. A lot of women deal with morning sickness, so let's talk about that a little bit more, because
so common.
It is so common, but it's also not so common to find a remedy. In my studies, there's a few things that could be a low vitamin B6 particularly. But that doesn't always help some women. I know, have you taken vitamin B6 before?
We got some vitamin B6 after I started feeling like this, and it didn't work like right away in the way that it just immediately got rid of the nauseousness, but since I've been vomiting, I've been taking it every day, and I've been feeling good, but I don't know if it's probably contributing a little bit.
Yeah, it could be. Another reason that could be a contributor to morning sickness could be a blood sugar related problem. And a lot of women would do well with ginger pills or just ginger, or we made a ginger ale one time, and I know you said that it poked, the hole got poked and it leaked all over, and we'd be happy to share this ginger ale. It's a homemade ginger ale recipe, but the ginger ale with the honey stabilizes the blood sugar, so a lot of women have success with that. And another one is the hormonal imbalance, and you mentioned that about how in this last 2 weeks there's this spike in your hormones that goes just pretty much nuts.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to get those stabilized at that time, but one of the things that we brought into your nutritional program is that hormonal changes, right? But even still, when it's so severe, and you're taking little amounts, trying to just do an overall tonic effect on your hormones. It's not an acute fix this now.
Yeah.
So it could be the hormonal issue there. One idea that's interesting that might be often overlooked is when a woman is stressed, or when anybody is stressed, we tend to carry that in our stomach. And I know you know this because you've had stomach pains a lot when you get stressed.
Oh, yeah.
And just the stress in your stomach can highly exacerbate morning sickness. And so that makes you wonder, does that contribute to the severity of the morning sickness in some way? And if so, what can you do to alleviate the stress in your life? We talked about exercise last episode, and walking, the deep breathing, meditating, those sort of things could hopefully alleviate and try to push out that stress out of your stomach.
Yeah.
So those are some ideas that might help other women who are struggling to know how to help their morning sickness. If your body's telling you to go to the hospital,
if it's so severe,
get it fixed. Yeah. Don't wait. I mean, if you're not staying hydrated, go get some help.
Yeah. Right? For sure. I don't think I could have waited much longer.
Yeah. Well, I'm really glad that you did that. I want to know what surprised you most about how your body felt during that first trimester. You can either talk about this time or last time.
I was surprised how good I felt up until the last few weeks, because you always see those movies like Juno, for example, where she's just always vomiting or feeling sick. And just movies in general, I think, give you a bad idea of pregnancy, like the worst of the worst that could happen. But honestly, I didn't even realize, like, I knew I was pregnant from 4 weeks, but I didn't really feel it, or I could have forgotten about it, to be honest, up until the very end of my first trimester, because I felt just so normal.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you're vomiting and you're like, oh yeah, I'm pregnant.
Yeah, oh shoot, oh shucks, something's inside of me right now sucking my life out of me.
Did you feel pressure to push through that even when you were tired?
The vomiting?
Or any moment in when you were feeling down, do you feel like you have to push through?
This pregnancy, yeah. I have a toddler now, so I can't just be like, oh, well, I'm tired, I'm gonna go lay down.
Oh, that's true, huh?
Go take a nap. Different. Now it's if I lay down, it's a toddler going in my face.
It's interesting because the second pregnancy, so you're like, oh, okay, I got this, but you're like, oh, wait a minute, now I have a toddler, so I can't really tend to myself like I did before.
It's a lot different, and just even with everything, it's you have to just share with your toddler. I'll make a smoothie with avocado and all this good stuff for me, and then it's he'll drink more than half of it in this big cup. I'm like, okay, leave some for me, please. I don't want to have health problems.
Well, speaking of sharing, didn't you say he would follow you every single time into the bathroom when you were puking?
Yeah. He would follow me in the bathroom, and then he would start gagging because of the smell, and then he would flush the toilet for me, and then he would cry and try and drag me away from the toilet. I'm like, it's okay, with tears streaming down my face.
Oh, that's funny. Looking back, what would you tell women who are in their first trimester right now?
Push through it. It's probably the hardest part besides the third trimester, depending on how your body handles all that extra weight. But yeah, it can be rough for a lot of people. A lot of my friends, it was very hard for them, way worse than me. So I had it pretty easy comparatively.
Let's go back to what is happening in the body that you touched on a little bit. You talked about how the hormones are shifting. In addition to that, the blood volume is beginning to increase. Mm-hmm. Your energy is being redirected internally, and your digestion is often slowing or changing. And we talked about that too when we were talking about the grains and your experience with feeling backed up, and then you ate some nourishing grains that were high in fiber and got the pipes flowing again.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
That was mind-blowing how fast it worked.
Well, and I would suggest, if you're feeling that way, maybe just go to the grains first instead of reaching for an over-the-counter laxative. In fact, that would be my last choice, would be a laxative in that regard. Yeah. I think I would try the grains first. There are some really mild herbal laxatives that could help. So I would look into those things first to help digestion, but knowing and understanding what's going on internally to help. All of this can tie back to fatigue. Did you ever feel really tired, or did you feel pretty good?
Sometimes I felt pretty tired, but not anything to the point where I'm like, I need to lay down and take a nap type thing.
Do you feel more tired this time? Because I feel like you've said to me, oh my gosh, I just feel so tired.
I would say physically, yeah, just because of the demand of a toddler and then being pregnant, it's a little more tiring.
Yeah. And I guess that's when you have to kind of push through, right? Because where's your nap window?
I guess when he naps, but
instead
we're
right
making
now.
a podcast.
Food aversions is another one.
I heard that food aversions and food cravings have to do with your hormone levels.
Oh yeah, when you're nauseous, you're like, ooh, don't even talk about that because it makes me want to gag. But have you had food aversions otherwise?
I only remember one time that some food made me gag. I got some soup from Zupa's, tomato soup, and
sounds nummy.
I opened it and instantly I had to run away from the scene because it just smelled so bad to me.
Oh shoot.
But other than that, I haven't been having any aversions, but I have been craving popcorn bad all the time.
That's a good fiber snack.
Yeah.
Do you have some popcorn? Or
I
do
have
I need
popcorn.
to bring you some?
I have some. I bought some.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not even pregnant and I'll crave popcorn like no other.
Ever since you made it that one day in your house, I can't stop thinking about it.
I just want popcorn.
For lunch and breakfast.
Friday I had nothing to do and I thought to myself early in the afternoon, I'm like, oof, popcorn in a movie, that's what I'm gonna do. And I couldn't even wait till the evening. I had to make my popcorn like at 3 o'clock.
It's so good, especially when it's homemade.
I
forgot
love it.
how nice that is.
With some olive oil or coconut oil, and I'm not afraid of butter anymore. It's gotta be real butter.
Yeah, not that marigold stuff.
Yeah, no margarine, no crab. Yeah.
Can't believe it's not butter.
I actually can. What about some emotional sensitivity? Do you feel like your emotions are running a little higher?
Oh yeah, I'll cry at everything I watch on TikTok.
And again, that could be a hormonal thing going on, huh?
Probably, but
yeah. It's helpful to understand what's going on. Don't be afraid of it. A lot of doctors look at this as, oh, you're in a diseased way now, and so we have to treat you. And it's not. Oh, this is the way we bring life into this world, and your bodies are meant to do that. And so don't worry so much. It's not a disease. This is a time to feel okay and
to feel
be
the
okay
feels.
about it. To feel the feels and know your body's doing exactly what it needs to. And you can talk to your body. You can talk to your baby, right?
Yeah.
We're just sort of coming up to speed in the first trimester of wrapping our brains around the fact that we're going to have a baby. Not everybody is excited to be here. Not everybody had wanted to be here. You know, we didn't grow up or think, I really want babies. Now, there are women that do. That's fine. But some of us meet this with uncertainty, and we're in there going, oh no.
Yeah, it's scary, especially with the state of the world.
And not every woman is going to feel that bonding right away, and that is okay. Just because they're feeling this now doesn't mean when the baby's here they're going to have less love for that baby. You've struggled with that as far as worrying about that connection, which might be more surprising in your second pregnancy. Don't you think, knowing how much you love your first, that this would be, oh yeah, okay, got this. But you mentioned early on about how am I going to have love for him and possibly her, or, you know.
It's like how DeLuca is my favorite dog.
Yeah.
I won't have favorites though. Or is that like a thing parents say,
secretly?
But you actually do have a favorite? I guess I'll find out.
I guess you will find out, but I mean, having one boy and one girl, I don't have to have a favorite. I have a favorite boy and a favorite girl. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if it's a boy or girl, but
yeah.
I'm sure I'll definitely have love for it, even if it takes time. But it's just like, it's more of just being stressed and nervous about everything else in life that it's like hard to connect in that way.
It is hard to connect in that way, and sometimes you actually have to see the baby and hold the baby and feel the baby and go through that experience.
Yeah.
And then So in your last pregnancy, you shared information about the baby's development every week. Do you remember what's going on with the baby's development during this first trimester?
Yeah, I was reading that the first trimester can be so intense because it's the most important developmental time of the baby, because so much is happening, like the digestive system and the skeletal, the bones, and the muscles and the limbs and facial features.
Yeah, so basically all the blueprint.
Yeah.
Everything's coming online.
It's a lot that's happening in the first trimester, and then the second and the third trimester is more of just the baby growing versus actually growing the heart, the lungs, and all of these intricate, the nervous system and everything is all in the first trimester is getting made.
Wow.
And then, and then it just grows.
That's incredible.
In the second trimester,
Yeah. Okay, so I think it's the third week is actually when the sperm hits the egg and starts the development. But you don't really know you're pregnant until about the 4th or 5th week, would you say?
Yeah.
And then from there, everything kicks into high gear. So you've only got 2.5-ish months to have all of this going on to create new life.
It's a lot happening for both you and the baby. You're giving your life, literally giving yourself to create it.
This goes back to how important then nourishment is. Mm-hmm. As soon as you find out you're pregnant, it's probably a good idea to cease any bad behaviors in your eating.
Bad behaviors, period. I stopped drinking caffeine and I stopped vaping.
Good for you. Yeah, get out of that.
I haven't vaped in 4 years.
That's good.
5 years.
I've heard some really bad things about vaping recently.
It's very bad. It's getting worse and worse the more we learn about it.
Anything with soda, high fructose corn syrup, processed foods.
Yep.
I would actually eliminate all meats from my diet and go straight into raw and the whole foods. We've talked all about this, so I don't want to bring it up again, but
that's
now's
actually
the time.
To bring that up. That is actually an aversion I've been having, is meat, because it just sounds so disgusting, and then it's so sad to just think about the poor animals and stuff. It really, I don't think I've had meat very much this pregnancy. Besides the fish you make.
Yeah, we've been trying. Well, and I skipped it this week, but I didn't think you were going to be in the mood for fish because it was right around the time that you were feeling very sick.
Yeah,
and if you're not going to do meat, you definitely need to think about replacing it with something. Get your raw greens, your raw fruits and vegetables, getting your grains, beans, and nuts and seeds. Having all of that is a well-rounded way to get everything that your body's going to need.
In American culture, people think that protein only comes from meat.
And something I've been learning recently about is the protein shakes and powders. I would probably do that maybe once a week, if that, because the protein powder is actually really hard for your body to assimilate and
even
go
if it's
through your liver.
Vegan or dairy free.
In fact, the pea protein that I bought specifically because it's not made from an animal, and it's harder on the body to assimilate.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, it's just one of the most definitely intense periods for the baby and probably for the woman, so you have to be very, very mindful of nourishing yourself and taking care of your body.
I think we talked about some good things. We talked a lot about morning sickness, but I think that's one of the biggest issues that women face during this time. Mm-hmm. And I think it's helpful to understand what's really going on with the development of your baby and feeling okay with how you're feeling and knowing when to seek help. Thanks for joining us today in our discussion about the first trimester. We focused heavily on morning sickness, but there are some other nuances that you might be experiencing that we would love to hear about. Leave a comment or a question, and we will see you next time for our second trimester discussion. Thanks. Have a great day.
Bye.